Assalamu alaikum. So today we are going to discuss some basic concepts and important terms and important ideas related with the research, especially with research methodology. So I'm going to cover the definition of research, what research is and what it is not. Then the characters of original research, characteristic of good research, and qualities of a good researcher. Now, let's talk about the first of all the difference between research and common sense. Basically, as I've discussed in the class as well, that there are few things that we do in our daily life that is actually we are doing research, but because it is not published, so it become a common sense. Okay, that when, for example, we are cooking any dish, then we put different spices and different ingredients in that particular dish in order to make it the best one, right? So it's our common sense and our experience that made make us make changes in that particular dish to make a perfect one, right? So that is not actually a research. So basically, research differ from common sense because it is planned, systematic investigation. Its theories are testable and falsifiable. Testable means the theories that are presented or discussed in that research can be tested by different people at different time on different places, and falsifiable means which can be proved false. It doesn't matter if I have done any research and my research has produced some result. So we can't say that the result that is produced by my research will always be the same everywhere and by everyone. Maybe on some other place, even in Pakistan, if we go on the in the upper regions, maybe the result will be false, will be different. Okay, so it can be falsifiable, and it attempts to study phenomena through careful description and identification, sometimes controlling and manipulating phenomena in order to study them in isolation. Okay, so basically, it is an attempt to study phenomena, some concept, some idea, some theory by careful description and identification of it, or of the concepts. Okay, and sometimes we have to control or sometimes we have to manipulate. ये controlling and manipulating वाली बात जो है, ये experimental studies और quasi experiments में होते हैं. ठीक है, especially experimental study where there is a control group and an experimental group. So controlling, the control group is controlled, and manipulating means some experiment or some changes is done on that particular experimental group. Okay, this manipulating is not a negative word here. Manipulating means making some kind of changes in order to find out the result of that, the effect of that particular change. So manipulating phenomena in order to study them in isolation. Okay, so this is basically research. When we are doing anything in a planned, proper, systematic way, investigating the phenomena, studying each and everything carefully, all the descriptions and identification, and then finding out the results of it. Okay. Now, there are three important terms if we talk about research methodology. First, research methodology, research technique, and the last is research method. This research methodology is different and research method is different. Okay, these terms, these two terms are different. It means though almost they are same, but there is some difference between them. Okay, when we talk about the research methodology, it means it is the study of all the research methods that we undergo or we study or we discuss. Okay, like for example, I have discussed in the class about the paradigms, about the designs, about tools, right? Upon about different research areas. So all these things, when we study all these things, then it is known as research methodology. Okay. Now, research technique, using means, approaches, tools to collect data. So basically, research technique means okay, so basically, research technique means the tools or the approaches that are using, that a researcher is using to collect data. Okay, now if we talk about the research method, then it is a manner in which a particular project is undertaken. Okay, a particular method which is followed in order to collect the data, in order to fulfill all the आई मीन रिसर्च. ओके, यानी ये समझ लें कि इस तरह से नैरो डाउन हो रहा है. रिसर्च मेथडोलॉजी इज द ओवरऑल स्टडी, एवरीथिंग इज इंक्लूडेड इन इट. रिसर्च टेक्निक इंक्लूड ओनली द टूल्स और द अप्रोचेस थ्रू विच वी कलेक्ट डेटा. And research method is actually the design or the procedure that you take to collect the data, to analyze it and all. Okay, this is a bit narrow term as compared to research methodology. Now, if we talk about research, how can we define a research? Answer what? Answer to what? Solution of what? Investigation of what? Discovery, description, relation. ये सब चीजें तो हैं, but किसकी? ठीक है? So research basically cover all these things. Of what? It is an answer to a question. When we do any research, then actually we design a research question and we try to find out the answer of that particular question. Okay, it is a solution to a problem. There is always a problem of which the researcher is trying to find out some solution. Okay, so that's why the problem is there and the researcher is trying to find out the solution of it. Investigation of an issue, as I've already discussed, that actually you investigate, you try to find out the reasons behind if something has happened, right? So some issue is there, problem or issue, and you try to find out or investigate the reasons of those issues. Okay, discovery of knowledge. Sometimes obviously when you are doing researches some new concepts arises, ठीक है, especially in case of qualitative researches. जब qualitative researches होती है डिटेल में इन डेप्थ होती हैं, चाहे वो केस स्टडीज हो चाहे कंटेंट एनालिसिस हो, some new theories, new phenomena or some new knowledge emerge. ओके, कुछ नई नई बातें निकलती हैं उसमें से. सो इट कैन बी अ डिस्कवरी ऑफ नॉलेज, इट कैन बी डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ अ फिनोमेना, and it actually shows the relationship between the variables that the researcher has used in order to find out, collect the data and find out the result. Now, the proper definition of research is that it is the systematic process of collecting and analyzing information or data in order to increase our understanding of the phenomena about which we are concerned or interested. Okay, this definition is given by Leedy PD and Omrod JE, that was published in 2005 in Practical Research Planning and Design. Okay, so basically, according to this definition, you can see that research, again, it is mentioned here that research is very systematic process. Systematic process of what? Of collecting and analyzing information or the data, right? So that we can have a better understanding of the theory or the phenomena. There is one important thing mentioned here, that we are concerned or interested. It means it depends on the researcher. The topic, it's up to the researcher to select the topic and to do the research on that particular topic. Okay, so it's to the interest of the researcher to select and do the research. Okay, otherwise it will be a compulsion for that particular person. Another definition is that research is an unusually stubborn and persisting effort to think straight, which involves the gathering and the intelligent use of relevant data. Now, here you can see it is an unusually stubborn and persisting effort. Unusually stubborn क्यों? Because you will find a lot of hurdles, a lot of difficulties when you will start doing your research. Okay, so you have to be persistent, you have to be stubborn, stubborn in a positive sense, in a sense that you will keep on continuing your work, you will not stop doing it, no matter how much difficulty you face, no matter how much hindrance you face. Okay, but you have to think straight in order to involve, which involves the gathering and the intelligent use of relevant data, so that you can collect the data and then you can analyze it. Now, next we are going to talk about the characteristic of the original research. Now, when we talk about original or a good research, then these are the important points that we have to focus on, right? If we want to do any good research, it means we should keep these points in mind so that we can make a good research. Number one, originate with a question. A research always start with a question. After after finalizing your research topic, you have to design a research question related with that particular topic. Okay. Then formulation of a goal. Formulation of a goal means you have to decide what you want to do in that particular field. What is your objective basically? Okay. Goal is in the broad sense. When you will start writing it down, then it will become objective. Okay. So you have to form those goals or objectives in order to be more to the point. Okay. And so that you can find out the answer in a better way. Then the third is the definition of a specific procedure. Definition means when you are starting your research, it means you have to mention each and everything clearly in your research. Whatever you have done, however you have done, what were the things that were involved when you were doing your research and everything. Okay. Number four, dividing the goal into manageable units, as I've just mentioned in number two as well. That goal is in a broad sense. You have to divide the goals into objectives. They can be 2 to 3 objectives. Now this depend on the length of the research. Okay, because your research will be academic one, so that's why your word limit is around 3000 to 4000 word. Okay, so for that you need to make 2 to 3 objectives. Okay. Otherwise, if you are doing any professional research or any research on your own, then it's up to you how many objectives you want to design. Okay. For each and every objective you have to work separately. Okay. You have to focus on each and every objective. Then number fifth is formulation of a hypothesis. Now, basically, hypothesis is especially for quantitative researchers, and even from quantitative researchers, it's quasi experiment and correlational studies where we mention the hypothesis. ठीक है. Qualitative में usually अब hypothesis mention नहीं किया जाता है. पहले ये concept था कि दोनों qualitative quantitative दोनों में hypothesis लिखने होते हैं. ठीक है. But it's not necessary these days. It's only especially experiments and quasi experiments where we are supposed to make hypothesis and sometimes correlational studies as well. Then the sixth is collection of data. Obviously, when you are doing research, it means you have to collect the data. Setting forth assumptions means basically assumptions are for qualitative research, hypothesis for quantitative researchers, and assumptions for qualitative researchers. And then the last is research is helical. Helical means it can be repeated on different places, on different people, and maybe the result will be different. Okay, so research should be designed and done in such a way that it can be repeated anywhere else by any other person. Now, if we talk about the characteristics of a good research, then it should be clear, should have clearly defined purpose, detailed research process, thoroughly planned design, high ethical standard, limitations addressed, adequate analysis, unambiguous presentation, conclusions justified, and interpretations or recommendations stated clearly. So these are the things. If you take the original research, so original research or good research में ये फर्क है कि research, any research that is written actually by a researcher, which is not copy pasted, will have the qualities that I have just discussed in the last slide, right? Whereas if you want to write a good research, a good material, a good research article, then these are the things which you have to focus on. Means you have to clearly define the purpose, as mentioned earlier, that the process should be in detail and clearly mentioned. The design that you have selected, research design, should be properly planned and properly mentioned as well. High ethical standards. Now, basically, when we talk about research, then there are some research ethics as well. Okay, we'll discuss it in detail later on in the semester, but let me clearly tell you that in doing a research, a good one, you should follow each and every ethical point or ethical issue uh, uh, that is necessary. Next is limitations addressed. Limitations means, for example, your research focus on the female students of Karachi. Okay, so it means BS students, female BS students of Karachi. Now, what is the limitation? It means you are not focusing on the male students, right? You are not focusing on the MA students. This is your limitation. It means you are only focusing on that particular, uh, participant, particular variable. Adequate analysis, whatever the data you have collected should be properly analyzed and properly presented without any ambiguity. Okay, whatever you have concluded should be properly justified, and there should be recommendations as well. Now, qualities of good researcher. बेसिकली अ गुड रिसर्च, अभी तो हम रिसर्च की बात करें, अगर रिसर्च की बात करें तो पहले तो रिसर्चर का काम है ना, कि रिसर्चर अच्छा गुड रिसर्चर होगा तो दैट पर्टिकुलर पर्सन कैन प्रोड्यूस अ गुड रिसर्च. Okay, so in order to, if you want to write or publish a good research, then it means you should have these qualities: cognitive skills, academic skills, and technical skills. Okay, I'll discuss it in detail, and practically we'll find out some qualities that are related with these skills. ठीक है, इसके बाद हम करते हैं. अच्छा, cognitive skills means that is related with brain. Intelligent होना चाहिए स्टूडेंट को, आई मीन रिसर्चर को. ठीक है, should have be a good observer. Okay, academic skills should have a good vocabulary, good grammar. These are things which are included in academic skills. Technical skills include your skills on computer, your writing skills, and all. Okay, now let's talk about the research process as well. Okay, this is actually the research process. Topic and problem identification. First of all, you have to decide your research topic, and then you have to identify the problem that is present in that particular research topic. Okay, then after finalizing your research topic, you have to study some literature related with it in order to finalize the topic. ठीक है, जैसे मैंने क्लास में भी डिस्कस किया था कि टॉपिक हम इस बेसिस पे फाइनलाइज करेंगे कि जब हमें ये पता हो कि लास्ट 5 years में इस पर कितनी रिसर्च हुई हुई है, ठीक है, और किस एरिया में किस साइट्स पे हुई हुई है. ठीक है, सो यू हैव टू स्टडी सम लिटरेचर रिव्यू, एंड देन यू विल मेक अ स्पेसिफिक रिसर्च क्वेश्चन. Okay, after that you will focus on your study design. You will make a proper research design, selecting your paradigm, selecting your research design, your tools and everything. Okay, in detail. And then you will collect the data, and then you will analyze it, and finally the conclusion. This is whole overall the research process that is focused. Okay, so that's all for the basic concepts, the basic research. uh, Thank you.